chillin' on the moon, just reflecting on my past life. Queens call me in to beat that womb to see if we can dance like a symmetry, triple balance in my seat. Spirits call me to who teaches my guesses will be back soon. I'm busy chillin' on the moon, just reflecting on my past life. Queens call me in to beat that womb to see if we can dance right. Asymmetry, triple balance in my seat. Spirits call me to who teaches my guesses will be back soon. I'm busy chillin' on the moon. Disobedience, ignorance, and arrogance. This is what we left off on when we were talking to Jonathan about R.E.A.L.M in the last episode. He has recently gone on a journey. We took a whole hiatus, so that's going to be pretty awesome to get into, but we are going to finish up R.E.A.L.M. Real quick, Jonathan, there was one thing I wanted to ask you about before we get back into law.
Please.
Okay, absolutely. Just making sure it's okay.
It is good to be back. As you guys can see, you ladies and gentlemen, like you said last time, all you G's. Yeah, I have the blue on today, so it's a different side of me today. I'm a little bit more relaxed. I was fiery before, but now I'm cool, calm, and collective.
Right. There was more frequency last time, but this is going to be more vibration. This is going to be more of a wave instead of a straight line.
There you go.
So last time you said that men lie, women lie, but numbers don't.
Correct.
And I want to challenge you on that because I'm thinking that when we're especially looking at R.E.A.L.M, a lot of the way that R.E.A.L M operates is using numbers to lie. Is it not?
Go ahead and elaborate on that.
Yeah, like when we think about even for example, the US Census. So when Europeans are coming over and they want to build a government that makes white people look way bigger than black people, they're claiming that the US Census is them documenting the populations. But really, when you're inside the government or you know what perspective they're coming from, they're just using numbers in this case to erase the indigenous peoples that are there. So now they can go into a land, see that there's 10,000 Native Americans, but if they want there to be 3,000 white people, then they would just very simply write that down, ignore the actual people there. And now that's going to be the data that we build upon for today in 2022, when we could look back and be like, oh, look, there's these amount of people. And I feel like that would be an example of perhaps numbers lying.
Well, I mean, I guess you could have used that as an example. When I say it, I'm using it in the context of okay, so yes, this is true. This is what they have done effectively or successfully, that they wiped the indigenous people off the land by giving them a name of Negro or giving them a name of Black. So now we don't have any Indians, we have, or Native Americans, however you're going to call them, indigenous people, or you have as Black people because they have lied. And now these numbers these numbers look skewed, but it's not the numbers that are wrong, it's the people that lied. It's not the numbers that lied. But as you know, and most of your viewers know if they listen to your content, that everything vibrates at a certain frequency, and those frequencies could be broken down into numbers. So when it comes to fire, we talked about fire being 1 or water being 2. And because the fire is going to have a masculine principle, fire is always going to want to move up. Fire is always going to be hot. Even in Taoism, you know, the male sexual energy is considered fire, right? And, you know, he has a penis that protrudes outward, right? So then you have a woman who is the opposite. She's number 2, water. It would be cool. And she would have more of a softer energy. Her sexual reproductive organ would be going down the opposite way. So this is what I mean by, you know, when I'm using that in kind of in that context, that you can't really lie about it, you know, because like, for instance, they want to say transgender, and this might get whatever, but I don't care. Like a transgender man is actually a woman. Well, in that case, I could say that people lie, but numbers don't, because based on just the frequency of it, like the original frequency, it would still be a 1 rather than being a 2. I don't know if that makes any sense to you, but yeah.
I mean, you're just getting like right to the base spiritual nature of
Right.
elements, and you're like communicating about it before language gets imposed upon it. And so, I mean, we totally see where you're coming from. I'm just challenging the idea of, yeah, how numbers can be used to lie, basically. But you're
But
saying, of course, the natural essence of reality is truthful, and
but
reality does use numbers to build.
yes, the organic construct is, you know, is evident, you know. But once man starts to manipulate it, because what have
Mm,
man has effectively became a co-creator. So
mm-hmm.
it's not like nothing is really bad in nature. It's
Right.
just the way that man organizes it that makes it bad. It's not like oil is bad and water is bad, but the two of them, they don't mix. Or it's not like
Mm-hmm.
baking soda is bad and vinegar is bad, but when you mix them together, you create this type of reaction which could cause this harm.
Mm-hmm.
Or even when it comes to elements, I mean not elements, frequencies. You can have one tone that goes ding, and you got another tone that goes dong, and those go perfect together. But then you can have two completely different tones like ding, and when you put them together, it just doesn't sound. It doesn't sound harmonious. So like the way that we change the structure of a sugar cane, right? Because a sugar cane is natural in itself, but by adding fire to it, we change the structure of it, and now
Mm-hmm.
we make it into something that's actually poisonous and a drug to the body.
Mm-hmm.
So man just kind of changes things around with the creature that he is. And I'm not going to say all men, but I'm going to say certain people do that.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And I mean, just to make what you're saying completely like truthfully concrete, the energy of man is to lie, and the energy of woman is to be truthful. And then this is just the idea of like the ego lies and the soul tells the truth, or fire lies and water tells the truth. And then
Mm,
balance that and use this to communicate all the time. And you can see like when people get more in their ego, they tend to lie more. And like that's generally men, right, who like when they're in their ego, now we get the world we're in where they want to lie constantly to make their ego seem bigger and brighter than others. So now we have movies where they have to use all these special visual effects to make themselves look like they're better than everyone who paid to go see the movie.
that's true.
Versus, right, then water would be the truth that holds on to the lies that fire consistently puts out. So the universe is like always keeping this library tab. That's then where we get into like people's idea of the Akashic records or whatever. But everyone
Yeah.
has that in your own soul. Like that's the idea of your own soul, as we talked about, being the memory that holds on to all the lies that you've experienced in
Yeah.
all lifetimes.
I mean, according to who was it, Billy Carson? I think he said that your DNA is as old as the Earth is, and
Mm-hmm.
so it's literally like what you're saying, kind of like a record keeper. It has
Mm-hmm.
everything in it, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just interesting.
It is.
But like we're still kind of talking about law, and I don't know how much I went into depth with this last time, but I think it's very important for people to make the distinction of what a law actually is, because when we use you know, the word law, we know how tricky the English language is,
Mm-hmm.
and I could say law, a universal law, and then we could say, a law like a judicial or legislative or executive branch, right? And those are two completely different laws in its original form, but the names is still the same. So it can
Mm-hmm.
cause a lot of confusions in the minds of people. So when I say that, this realm acronym that we're discussing, that there's laws, I mean, they're not really laws. I mean, there's many names that you can give it. You can give it.
Yeah, before the podcast, we said policies and mandates. Those are two very great words, I think.
Yeah, and I think
And a
policies.
mandate really signals a lie. We could just say a lie date. On this
Mhm.
date, I lied to you, but your truth is going to make this lie real. You're going to
This is
connect with my projection, and we're going to build a government out of it.
this is this
Mandate.
is this is the date that the man has lied on. The mandate.
Exactly.
But if you look at policies, and I might have spoke about this briefly, but policies, POL, they're put in place by politicians, and then they're the ones that make
and
up
enforced
the
by
policy.
police.
And by police, the POL, exactly right. So they're all connected. They're all connected, but there's universal laws, and I don't know all of them, but I know that there are lesser and there are greater universal laws. So if you have a greater one, you can manipulate the lesser one. When it comes to the Hermetic principles, the first one is that the mind is all, that the mind controls the universe, and we know that this one is actually powerful. This is the reason why people can manipulate matter. And if you, and ladies and gentlemen, if you don't believe me with this, because I have a friend by the name of Wayne, I call him Master Wayne. Just go ahead and check out my channel. We did a live interview, and I'm going to be interviewing Master Wayne once a week. But he has proven that he can actually move objects with his mind, and he
don't just listen to him. Actually, go check Jonathan out. 7 Circles. You can even Google him. All right, it's bigger than YouTube. This is bigger than YouTube.
But have you checked out that podcast with
yeah
on it?
I started watching it, and you're about to get multiple views from me because I have to go back.
Okay, beautiful. Have you actually seen have you actually seen him move the objects with his mind?
I saw the intro of you just letting us know that this is about to be better than the Avengers and the X-Men. And he was setting things up, and it's exciting. It's very exciting.
It's really
real.
exciting.
I haven't seen it, but I know like the power is real. Do I know he's real? I don't know if he's real. That's why I have to find out. I'm excited.
He can even do things like he teleported twice. He can walk through a wall. So I mean, the mind, right? Because I'm talking about the mind. The mind. If you believe, because there's power in belief.
The mind manipulates matter, and when we experience our life as matter, that's all superpowers right there.
There you go.
When you really get your mind right.
Yep. Get your mind right. Get your mind right. Exactly. I mean, that's what it boils down to, and this is why this is a perfect segue into the media, because what does the media do? The media is a brain
messes
conditioning.
Up your mind, gets your mind wrong.
Yeah, it's a brain conditioning, a brainwashing mechanism.
Just to connect it, the media is the one thing that makes laws popular, I think. Like right there into R.E.A.L.M, like R.E.A.L.M, that L law into M media. Laws don't matter without the media. Like if people weren't watching movies and watching TV and listening to the radio and getting conditioned multiple times in a certain mindset to be molded into these musculature structures that they uphold every day, then the laws wouldn't matter.
Yep.
Right. So it's all like media is essential when you're talking about manipulating the masses on that Metatron shit. They want to manipulate everything, all the nature outside of them, instead of manipulating the nature inside of them. They didn't listen. They didn't listen.
Well, way back we were talking about how did I mention this? How children become how they become, I guess, accustomed to everything in the realm because of the data mindset. THETA. You got alpha, beta, theta, gamma. Have you spoke about that?
Go ahead. I mean, I'm familiar just with the brain wave frequencies. Back when I was in grade school, I was getting really into the subconscious mind. And then that's when I was learning about like programming oneself going to sleep, and then understanding like, okay, when you're awake, that's beta. But then when you get more focused, you're not so sporadic in your brain waves. That's a little more alpha. And then when you start to go to sleep or more meditative, that's, I'm pretty sure, delta. Yeah. And then unconscious, closest thing is theta.
No. Well, okay.
Or,
I think I think
delta
might be when
delta is lower.
Yeah.
Okay. And then theta is more subconscious.
Yes. So when you're a child, and I might have mentioned this, but I think it's worth mentioning again. When you're a child from the age of 1 through 7, you are functioning in a state of, I believe you pronounce it theta, THETA. Okay, and this when you're being hypnotized, that's exactly the same brain state that you are in, the exact same brain state. And what that brain state says is that it believes everything that its environment is giving it. It doesn't have any type of prejudice. It accepts it, whether if it's negative or if it's positive. That's the reason why if somebody, if a hypnosis is hypnotizing somebody, and we've seen this on many shows before, they say, "Hey, once I snap my fingers, I want you to act like a dog," and now that person's going, "Hoof, hoof, hoof," right? So
It is in
that's
fact beta, alpha, theta, delta. So
okay.
beta is like super conscious, alpha is conscious, theta would be subconscious, and then delta is the closest thing to unconscious.
And then, of course, we have gamma as well too, and that's where supernatural powers happen. That's
Yeah,
why we have the Incredible Hulk with the gamma blast. But
right. That's like
um,
full transformation.
yeah, and I believe that that's what Wayne was tapping into when
Right.
he was doing what he
Constantly
was doing.
transforming. And then the idea is like, if you really harness the energy of transformation, that power to control death means that you never actually die. And now you're constantly regenerating faster than you can actually end. And then that's real transformation. Now you're just infinitely big. You can become 8 feet tall. Like it's wild. Yeah. Gamma radiation for sure.
um,
A lot of truth
yeah.
in the
So
comics.
I mean, just so like
So
that's the way
manipulating children, right, with the
right,
wavelengths.
right. That's the way people get brainwashed into it, and it's important to mention that because I thought about this when you talked about how when we're looking at the news, they kind of condition you. The primetime news, and especially, back in the days when people watched a lot of TV, but that would be coming on around 6 o'clock. They would have the music, people would, eat their dinner and watch the news. But when you sit down and when you eat, and even when you're watching TV, this has been proven in Harvard University, amongst many other prestige colleges, is that you are actually in alpha, brain state when you're watching TV. So at 6 o'clock, after you did a 9 to 5, you come home, you have some dinner. Now you're watching the news. You're in that state where now you're receiving all of that information, and they're giving you the whole drop about what's going on, all of the fear-based stuff. So I just thought that it was interesting to note that, because it kind of just came to my attention how, as a child, they're utilizing theta, and then later on is more of an alpha to kind of maintain that.
Right. To implant it in the subconscious when you're
Yes.
most susceptible, so that then you can build upon that and then consciously maintain it and feel like you are not programmed and feel like it's all not only normal, but progress.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So, I mean, the media is gigantic, and it's not just the news. We have the newspaper, which people don't hardly use anymore. We have billboards, which you see all over big cities, especially in San Francisco. They're everywhere, right? You have it in social media, which is huge, in many different platforms, from Twitter to Facebook to advertisements. I mean, the media is it's just spread it out vastly. Even when it comes to like people wearing T-shirts and things like that, those are forms of media. Like back in the days when we were in these periods of art, and you look at art history, they would actually pay the artists a decent amount of money to paint certain things so that they could be advertising their products. I mean, this is what we have come to, because the phrase that a picture is worth 1,000 words is actually true. Symbols, right? Symbols are powerful as well too. But yeah, it's been proven. And that's why people spend so much money on the media. If you look at these companies, if you look at YouTube, if you look at Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, whatever, these are free platforms, and anybody can get on them, and anybody can, with the camera or whatever, can upload and can participate and listen to the information. But we know that nothing is free, and we know that these companies are spending literally millions upon billions of dollars. And why are they spending so much money? Because we are the currency. People are the currency, because your attention, where your attention goes, energy flows, right? Your attention is actually worth more than these currencies.
More than
So that's
any
why-
number. Your attention
any
makes
number.
every number outside of yourself matter. Before someone can convince you that this system means more than your soul or whatever comes out of it, that attention is what even made it possible for you to learn what something was. Your attention is everything.
Facts. 100% facts.
Attention and awareness.
Yeah.
What do you use your awareness to pay attention to? And that's what you're connecting to all the time. And then that's where people have to watch out for, like, the thoughts that they're having and that we're programmed by in the media, because then we're like acting them out every day.
This is true. I mean, and you can even take it a step further when it comes to attention, like how you mainly how like when you are utilizing your attention. Of course, you can use your ears, you can use your nose, but a lot of people it's with their eyes, and you would notice that the main focus is on your eyes, is on the bright colors, right? Like the
Mm-hmm.
McDonald's, and you have the
Mm-hmm.
orange and the red that makes you act a certain type of way, and that's what they
Mm-hmm.
have done with media and the social media and many other things that they have really how would I say capitalized off of
Mm-hmm.
off of your vision, because you can't smell
Mm-hmm.
something through a billboard, right? You can
Mm.
see it and you can hear it. You can't really feel it like that. You can't really taste it like that. So it's mainly your eyes and it's mainly your hearing. But
Mm-hmm.
I would say probably about 70-30 from sight to hearing, and that's how
Mm-hmm.
they capitalize. So people
Mm-hmm.
need to realize like what is their attention on, because whatever your attention is on, you are consuming, and we know what we
Mm-hmm.
consume, we become. So
Yes.
that doesn't just mean food. That means
Right.
anything. That means music.
All
That means
light,
exactly
all information, right? Those two
beautiful. Yep,
words.
absolutely. And whether if it's
Everything.
in a more gross form or a more settled form, it's you're still consuming it. You're still consuming it.
Mm-hmm.
And
You're
you
filling
said
your
something.
space with that. So every time you consume something on a spiritual level, right? You have a space, you can observe your space. First, there's nothing. But the moment you eat something, that's something you wanted to be aware of so much, you brought it into your space. Now you brought your space more into reality. It became denser because you connected more with something. And then this is where, yeah, you always got to watch what you eat, right? Because that's about to dictate how you experience the rest of life in reality.
So true, so true. And people are wondering, okay, fine, how does all of this tie into realm? Well, I hope that everybody can see it, because the things that we just named, we went over religion, we went over education, we went
Mm-hmm.
over agriculture, and we went over law. All of those things, and if you look, let me just before I say this, the first three of them, that's mind, body, and spirit, or spirit, mind, and body, right? Religion being
Mm.
spirit, the education being mind, and the other one being body. Then you have
Mm-hmm.
these fixtures, laws, or policies that we discussed, and now how are
Mm-hmm.
these, being how they're being pushed to make sure that you are constantly following them?
Right.
Well, they have to do a brainwashing mechanism, and that is through the media in
Mm-hmm.
in a multitude of different ways, and that's how
Mm-hmm.
it becomes really effective. That's why when it comes to things like, I don't want to get your channel banned, so I just say this. That's why when it comes to things like ejections,
Mm-hmm.
and when it comes to things like
Like the getting shot up.
yeah, exactly, all those jabs or whatever, right?
Right.
Is and people are saying the same thing. Oh, I have to get it. I have to be,
Right.
even though it didn't make any
Shoot me.
sense on a logical level.
Mm-hmm.
Their brains have been hijacked. Their
Mm-hmm.
minds have been
Right.
hijacked.
Right. America. America is America. Straight up. A whole UFO. It's all meant to get your mind in a spaceship and take it somewhere that is not heaven. You were taught to call it heaven in religion and all this stuff, but it's definitely the Bill Gates of hell. It is him with his little rip off of Metatron's metaverse trying to trap your soul in their web of lies. It is silly. And now, yeah, they have all the Neuralink stuff too, because they like really want to get in your thoughts and like be all invaded in your space. So, especially on this channel, what we're going to be learning in this lifetime is using all this information that we're able to be aware of to spiritually separate from structures and ideas and systems that are harnessing our energy to harm us instead of help us.
Beautifully put. Beautifully put. Yeah,
Right.
because that's what it boils down to. It boils down to that
Hmm.
the realm has successfully created a system to separate people from nature, but not even from nature. I'll say from themselves,
Exactly.
because people say
Which creates nature, but it's
well we
both.
we are
It's
nature,
both. As
because people say we need to get back to nature, but how can we get back to it when we are nature? Literally, what we need to do is we need to get back to ourselves, and the way that you do that is by knowing thyself.
mm,
You know,
hmm.
so yeah, I mean that's what Rome has done, and I know we don't have much time. I can see the clock winding down, but yeah, I just want to leave it on that note that getting back to the universe, getting back to nature, however you want to call it, or getting back to yourself. This is the key. This is the solution. SOULUTION. This is the solution to all of the problems that we are facing today.
Connecting with yourself is a solution. We'll be right back. Yeah.